You're probably wondering where I am right now. You see the pink curtains and the stuffed animals on the shelves, and you're like, where is she? No, this is not my bedroom. I don't decorate this way. This is actually my daughter's room. And working from home has so many wonderful advantages, but unfortunately, one of the disadvantages is, especially over the summertime when the kids are home, there's nowhere to work. They're in my office, they're in my room, they're everywhere. So I'm in my daughter's room, just snuck away real quick to share this quick video with you all. And really, I don't even know where to begin. Well, let's start here. It's no secret, if you've seen any of my videos, you know that I am an affiliate marketer with Empower Network. Wonderful company. If you need to know how to market, you have got to join us because the information that we're learning is just, not only is it relevant, it's current, it's what people are doing now, but it's literally changing lives and bank accounts, especially mine. And, we have an event coming up next week in Denver, Colorado. And, when I purchased my ticket to this Denver event, several months ago, actually at the last event that we had in Chicago, I knew that I needed to be there. And, as business happens sometimes, things are not always on the up and up. And I just want to be very transparent and tell you because some people act like, business is always booming and everything is always great. And that's just not, hasn't been my reality. And it hasn't been the reality of a lot of other business owners that I know that are internet marketers that have brick and mortar businesses, just business in general. You're going to have your highs and you're going to have your lows. You're going to have your up times, you're going to have your down times. Well, I happen to be in one of those down times right now. And I have learned to, first of all, when I'm experiencing a downtime, I realize that it can always be something I can learn from that. Okay? I can always learn something from why my business is, taking this downward spiral. And so I've kind of done a lot of self-evaluating and I've been looking at my marketing tactics and my skills and I've been really evaluating a lot of things. But at the end of the day, that's where I am. And so, as I was, getting the money for travel or hoping to get the money for travel, it just wasn't working out. And I thought, you know what? I've always made a commitment that my business is going to pay for itself. And it has. Every event that I've ever taken, everything I've ever bought does not come out of our personal family finances. My business has been able to sustain itself, which is really incredible. The first year in business being able to sustain like that. So in any case, this Denver trip is coming up and I'm like, how in the world am I going to afford? The airfare was like $700. Then of course you have to figure the hotel and the food and all that stuff. And I started getting discouraged. And I talked to my accountability partner on the phone and, we were having a conversation and she said, Dana, don't worry about it. I'll work out. And I'm like, that's easy for her to say. She's single, no kids. You know what I mean? She's got money. But I'm like, okay, she's right. It's going to work out. It's going to work out. And so I just began to pray. And, one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible, it talks about, do not be anxious for anything, but instead pray about everything. And then it talks about the peace of God, which will, guard your hearts and mind. And so I began to pray and I was like, Lord, you know exactly what I need. You know that I set my intention to be in Denver and you're just going to have to make it happen, Lord. I trust that you are going to make a way. And then I went on about my merry way and I went on about my life. I went back to work. I started doing the things that I knew I needed to do. And lo and behold, out of nowhere comes this like large unexpected amount of money and I'm just like, oh my God, you just like want to cry because even though you pray for things sometimes, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes you pray for stuff and it just seems like you're waiting and, maybe you've had a situation in your life where you've been praying or you've been hoping for something and you're waiting, and everybody else around you, it seems like it's happening for them, but it's not happening for you. And it's in that moment that you have a decision to make. Are you going to fear and retreat? Or are you going to continue to keep the faith and continue to keep going in faith, believing that whatever you prayed for or asked for is going to happen? And so that was really the decision that I was faced with. And I chose to just keep believing. And so when that money came in, I was like, oh my God, yay! Now I can buy my ticket. But that's not it. Okay. So I told you that the plane ticket was like $700. I think it was like $678 or whatever before taxes. Okay. Which is a lot of money for a flight, all right? And it doesn't help that I'm waiting until like 2 weeks before the event to actually purchase the thing. But in any case, we won't talk about procrastination. That's on another video. So, I don't buy the ticket. So I'm looking at, how much this costs. And I'm like, okay, there's no way that I can afford to spend that type of money on a plane ticket. So it really helps and pays to know people in position. And so my husband is like, I've got some pilot friends. Let me call in a favor. And so he calls in a favor, and I ended up getting my ticket for $168. So from $700 to $168, taxes included, I'm flying to Denver. Okay, but that's not it. So now we have to, get hotels and all this stuff, right? So my accountability partner and I were on the phone this morning and we're talking, and she's like, okay, because she just got her ticket as well. This crazy, like, wild testimony happened to her as well. And that just goes to show you that when God pours his blessings out, there's enough for everybody. And so she's got like this amazing testimony herself. So she's like, okay, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna stay together. And so, just like that, I end up getting put in a room with some of my most favorite people, in this business. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we are going to spend 4 nights together. This is going to be a blast. And so the price was like pennies. I'm telling you, like, when God comes through, he comes through. And so this morning, I was in the shower and I had just worked out, and I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm so sorry for doubting you. You know how you go, through these moments in your life and you go through like doubt. And God is like, haven't I always provided everything that you've ever needed? Haven't I? And I'm like, yes. And he's like, when have you ever needed something and you've gone without? Never. Now, I've gone without some of the things that I've wanted, for sure. We all have. But all of my needs have been met, every single last one of them. And God knew that I needed to be in Denver. There is a conversation that is going to happen in Denver. I don't know what it is, but I know I'm supposed to be there. There's a conversation, there's a connection, there's someone that I'm supposed to connect with on a deeper level, and God is sending me there for that. And so, you know what? When you grab hold of that, and when you know that there is a reason behind what you're doing, that gives you all the motivation that you need to continue to do whatever you need to do. So I wanted to share my testimony with you today because I believe that there's someone listening to me right now who maybe you are holding out for something, and it could be something major. Maybe you're holding out for a marriage to come together. Maybe you're holding out for a child that's sick, or maybe you yourself are sick. And I'm not talking like a cold. I'm talking maybe you have cancer, or you have something that is manifested itself in your body that you can't do anything about. And you've been praying and you've been waiting. And I just want to encourage you to keep believing, because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that if I would have decided, a couple weeks ago when the money wasn't there, that I was going to give up because it didn't look like it was going to happen, I honestly believe I would not be sitting here sharing this video with you, and I would not have had the manifestation of the prayer that I asked. And so I hope that you understand how important it is to not only pray in faith, but then also to believe and to continue to say whatever it is that you're believing, even when it doesn't look like it's going to happen. I can tell you there were days that went by that I would look at that bank account and I'll refresh the screen. You know how you do that? Refresh. Like, refresh. And it said the same thing. And so, God is good. And I don't know what your religious beliefs are or background is, but, that doesn't change the fact that God is good. He's good. And he takes care of those who belong to him. And, I'm a child of God. And I said on a call that I lead, I said, I'm a kingdom kid. God is my father. And so I have an incredible trust fund that I can tap into anytime. And so this week I tapped into that trust fund. And so I hope this video has been encouraging, helpful for you. I want to encourage you to pass this testimony on. Why am I asking you to do that? Several reasons. Number one, other people need to be encouraged, and other people need to understand that no matter what it is that you're waiting for, if you continue to believe, it will happen. And so I want you to pass this video on by simply clicking the share button. You can share this on any form of social media that you have, or post it to your blog or website or whatever you choose to do. This is not a promo video for anything. This is just simply a word of encouragement to other people to keep pressing, keep believing, and it will come to pass. So, God bless you guys. I'm so excited. I'm actually about to go start packing my bags for Denver. And stay tuned, because, of course, I'll be sharing the entire trip and all the wonderful things that are going to happen there. And I'm going to let you know what that conversation was that I predicted that God has told me I'm going to have with this person that's really going to change a lot of things for me. So, I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care. Bye.